Welcome back to Paranormal Tedium, and yet another episode in the series Rich's Complete and Utter Breakdown, recorded here at our secret lard facility. We did consider calling it Central Unit Netherworld Technologies, but couldn't come up with as catchy an acronym. And it's here where I look at the gear used by ghost hunters in their pursuits to capture evidence of spirit voices and other spooky shit and determine if they're any use. Let's do this. For almost as long as we've been able to make recordings onto media, there's been a fascination with trying to capture voices from the dead. And from what I can gather, it was most probably started by the work of one Attila von Saleh in the late 30s or early 40s, depending on which articles you read. I have found whilst researching for this series that it's been extremely difficult to find specifics of the origins of subjects relating to the paranormal. Also, two separate websites have the same image yet state that it's two different people. Saleh, an American of Hungarian descent, was a photographer who captured phantom voices on 78 RPM vinyl records before progressing onto reel-to-reel tape. This was born out of his previous forays into spirit photography, which is going to be a whole other vid. Other notable progenitors of what's now commonly known as electronic voice phenomena, or EVP for short, are Swedish painter and film producer Fredrik Jungensen and Latvian psychologist Konstantin Rodive, although Rodive, according to an article on the BBC website, coined the term electronic voice projection, which I think sounds way cooler. I'll link to that article below. Also, I'm not going to go into too much of the EVP history here, as Steve and I are working on a future vid specifically dealing with the subject, so watch this space. In 1982, Sarah Estep would found the American Association Electronic Voice Phenomena, and is the person credited with coming up with the EVP classification tiers. And I thought that was just some bollocks thought up by the Ghost Adventures team.
That's a f***ing Class A EVP.
Go figure. Having said that, I can't find her original tier system documented anywhere online, and the sites that do list classifications don't appear to have any common consensus as to how many tiers there are. From vinyl to tape and now to digital, any device that can record audio has been used by intrepid ghost hunters to capture voices from the other side. Cheap off-brand recorders that you can pick up on Amazon for 15 to 20 quid or so, mobile phones, all the way up to fairly expensive field recorders are now used. But before we delve in, how about giving this vid a thumbs up? Honestly, it's been medically proven not to hurt. Nor would subscribing to the channel and remembering to click the bell icon. In fact, the endorphin rush you'll probably get from doing all three will more than compensate you for the time it takes you to physically do it. Go on, you know you wanna. So are certain recorders better than others? Well, having previously been a gigging and recording musician, yeah, that's me on bass and backing vocals for Tickaboo Peak back in 1999 playing the Gods Festival at Maxime's in Wigan. And also spending a very brief period as a sound engineer, I'd say the answer to that question is yes. And here's why. A recording is only as good as the equipment you use to make that recording, or more importantly, the quality of the components within the device. It's the microphone, and now that we're in the digital era, the analog to digital converter, which determines the quality of the recording. But that's not taking into account the quality of the original sound. If that's shit, the recording's going to be shit, however fantastic the equipment is. For the microphone, it's the sensitivity that determines what's actually picked up. There's a reason that recording engineers use a mic like this, instead of a mic like this, or this, to record vocals for a song in the studio. But to put that into the context of an investigation, this has a much higher mic sensitivity than this. In fact, my H4n is so sensitive it could probably pick up a sparrow's fart at 100 paces. The downside to this though is that you may pick up sounds and voices that are external to your investigation, which could then be misinterpreted as otherworldly upon playback. A neighbour's crying baby or a stray dog growling outside, for example. So bear that in mind. As for the AD converter, it pretty much boils down to two variables, sample rate and bit depth. These are the audio equivalent of video frames per second and screen resolution. Sample rate is the number of slices per second that the analog sound wave is split into, and is measured in hertz. Bit depth is the number of steps that represent each slice in the sample. In both cases, the higher the value, the greater the resolution of the digital audio. Thus, less distortion, providing a more accurate audio representation when played back. There's a great overview of all of this on the PreSonus website. See the link. Going back to my video analogy, surely it's better to have a 4K vid running at 60 FPS than a standard definition vid running at 24 FPS, right? Especially if you're trying to determine exactly what something is in the vid. What you listen to the playback on, whether it's earbuds, headphones or speakers, the quality of those will also have an impact on what you hear. Irrespective of the quality of the equipment and the recordings, there are a couple of psychological effects that also need to be touched upon. Again, I won't go into too much detail, but here's a quick overview of each. In fact, there's a whole subject on psychoacoustics which is way beyond the scope of this vid, but you should fulfill your inner geek and go check out the link. First up is auditory pareidolia. Now, any paranormal investigator worth their salt should know what pareidolia is. It's that process inside our brains that lets our eyes see Simba in the clouds, a face on Mars, or the devil in smoke. Well, auditory pareidolia is the same thing, but for your ears. Hearing words and voices in random noise where none actually exist. Grant Wilson of Ghost Hunters fame has a whole video on the subject of pareidolia on his own YouTube channel. Look, I know I've taken the piss out of Grant in a previous breakdown vid, but this one of his is well grounded and definitely worth a watch. I'll put a link. The second effect is the power of suggestion. How many paranormal vids have you watched where they're playing back what they claim to be an EVP and either tell you what they think they hear or display the word or phrase on screen, usually just before or during playback of the audio?
You say my name.
Boom! Right there. Now you've been primed to hear exactly what they want you to hear, and now you can't unhear it. Don't believe me? Then check this out.
So what we'll hear first is I asked for a peppermint, I asked for her to get one.
Still not convinced? What about now?
Meanwhile, Katie Lang singing about arseholes.
The power of suggestion is extremely strong and can affect everyone. Okay, I admit, the last clip probably has more to do with the McGurk effect. But it still illustrates my point. You can't always trust your arse. If you want to know more about the McGurk effect, I'll link to a clip from an old BBC Horizon programme. In conclusion, are voice recorders a valid piece of equipment in investigations? Definitely, as long as everything that I've mentioned in this breakdown is taken into consideration. Can they pick up spirit voices? Now that's the million-dollar question. I think, to paraphrase Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's character Sherlock Holmes, once you've eliminated every mundane possibility of what the source of a sound could be, what's left, however improbable, must be the source. But from what I've seen of ghost hunting shows and YouTube channels they all struggle with, or just completely fucking ignore, the elimination of the mundane part. They just jump straight to the paranormal or supernatural explanation because that's what gets the views, likes and subscriptions. And we've come to the end of another vid. Have you ever captured an EVP? Let us know in the comments and tell us the make and model of the equipment you use to record it on. If you like this vid, then please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, just give it a thumbs up anyway, I won't tell. For more breakdown vids or any other content we post to our channel, subscribe and remember to click the bell icon. That way you'll know exactly when we upload more. Thanks for watching, and until next time, Nanu Nanu!